Oh, Oryx, I'm gunning for that ass, man. Much like telling a YouTuber to go fuck himself, I'm going after Oryx to tell him to go fuck himself. And the good news for you guys is I want to bring subscribers along as you're ranked high enough. That's right, pretty much all weekend long, or at least whenever the fuck I'm online this weekend, I want to get some reigns in already with friends and subscribers. It took me a while to do this with the Vault of Glass by the time I learned that shit, by the time I got ranked up enough in this motherfucker, but this time around, it's going to be a little different. You know, one of the things that I've noticed, and this seems to happen all too frequently, I have a pretty decent-sized list of friends who play the game, obviously, right? I can go through 2, 3, 4 rows of people or whatever the hell it is. However, I rarely play with the overwhelming majority of you guys that are on my list. Part of that is that I play with friends most of the time. The other part of that is I'm usually working on something separate. So usually if I'm working on something separate, I want to complete that before I move on to other things, particularly with friends. And another big part of this is that some people are just, for the most part, too intimidated, nervous, or even weary of jumping into my room or asking if they can get some games in with me. Now, for the most part, I don't accept invitations to other people's room. The big reason for that, like I already mentioned, is that I normally have a plan of attack and what I'm going to be doing in my limited gaming time per night. So obviously if I have some bounties, obviously if I have some quests or whatever the hell it is, I want to get that shit done. So obviously if somebody's doing something else and it's not part of what my plan was, I want to get my plan done, then if I have time, I'll go help out in this bitch. But when it comes to this raid, I know that everyone wants to get into this motherfucker. And the more people on my list that I could get into games with, the more subscribers that join me, the more likely you guys are to join me in the future for shit. You know, that way, when we need people to raid with, when we need a 5th person, when we need a 6th person, whatever the hell it is, I play with you. I know I play with you. I know you know your foot from your ass. So that way, I'll be able to invite you in because you guys know how we roll at that point. And to me, that's one of the biggest advantages of something like the raid. You know, when it comes to the normal game, you have the 3-man fire team for the most part, or the Prison of Elders shit, which was only 3 fucking people. But at least with a raid, that's where you can get 6 people into the room. And to be honest, there are times trying to get 6 people into the damn raid at the same time is a bitch. People have shit to do, real world shit to do, especially when you're an adult and you have other crap that you need to take care of. So getting as many people into the rooms with us as opposed to relying on the LFG sites and shit like that, that gets people into partying up with us, that gets more people that we're comfortable playing with. That way we could go out and do all the things when it comes to this game. Now, as far as getting into my parties, I'm not trying to be a snob here, but you pretty much need to be hovering around 295 like. 295 really is the bare minimum, but things can be done with the 294 or some shit like that, as long as we have some higher level people. But if you're like 288, no, motherfucker. You need to go back out, get some better shitty gear before rolling into the raid. The damage differences are very noticeable once you try killing Oryx and you can't damage him. You know, this time around, I admit, Bungie made some massive improvements when it came to the raid. And the biggest improvements now requires you to know most of the mechanics. Now, I'm a pretty good teacher. I'm a patient motherfucker. But you'll at least want to watch some of the videos on how raids are done. So that way you can get an idea of how to do all the parts. So if you're brand new to this motherfucker, don't come in completely blind, having never even seen the shit. You want to at least watch something. You know, this is not like Crow to Zen, where you can always hide the lazy, unknowing motherfucker on the team. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? You get that one guy that doesn't know how to do shit, so he gets doing the shitty jobs, you know, fire rockets, die and self-revive, shoot the ogre. There's always someone that hasn't had the experience in a raid or whatever the hell it is, and there's always been a place to hide the motherfucker. That way, they won't die, and you could be able to get by the whole entire raid without having that one person carry their full weight. But here, we can't have any of that. Come into this raid with at least a little bit of knowledge. Even if it's just watching a video, even if it's just watching some YouTube, even if it's reading about it. Find out what each section is going to be about, so at least you're prepared when you go into the fight, you know that at least something is going to be coming. It's not easy, I'll tell you that right now. King's Fall raid is definitely a step above the Vault of Glass when it comes to the mechanics in this motherfucker, so you have to know your foot from your ass, especially if you want to get into rooms with us. But in any event, there's no sign up or anything, there's no list, there's no waiting list, there's no restrictions other than you just need to be on my friends list and you need to be high enough to join this. So if you see me online this weekend, consider it raid time. If you see me putting together a group, chances are we're going to be heading into the raid, so you want to say, hey, can I get in on this motherfucker? Yes, if you see me online, try to see if we can get some raids in, that way we could jump into this motherfucker and start killing Oryx. But in any event, as always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit, and hopefully I'll see some of you guys this weekend.